Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Auction campaigns for 2012 are now well underway, and I have had a couple of buyers asking me if there are any secrets to buying at auction. So today's topic is tips for buying at auction. Most buyers are nervous about buying at auction because of the pressures auction puts them under to make quick decisions. But sometimes the unpredictable nature of the market and of auctions means that there is the possibility of paying less than your limit. Another advantage of buying at auction is that you can see your competition. If the property reaches its reserve or is put on the market, as they say, you'll have a chance to see what the real market value is. Sure, multiple bidders may push up the price because they become emotional about the property, but that's the market talking. So how do you get ready for auction day? Probably the single most important tip, if you are intending on bidding at an auction, is be prepared. So here are 5 tips to help you prepare for auction day. Number 1, work out what you're prepared to pay. And what I mean by this is research recent sales, talk to agents, explore the neighbourhood. Then use your research to set yourself a price limit and stick to it. Once you've set your limit, never bid above this price. You might have your heart set on the home and feel you have to have it, but there's no point getting in over your head. Also, another tip, don't set your limit as a round number, because most people do that. So while the opposition may stop at say 600,000, if you are prepared to bid 602,500, that extra bid may win you the property. Number 2, have the property and documentation thoroughly checked and negotiate terms prior to auction day. Have your solicitor or conveyancer check the contract of sale before the auction day to make sure everything is in order, and speak to your lender or mortgage broker to organise your finance so that you are able to proceed with the sale if you're successful. You may want to order the terms of the settlement, the amount of deposit or the inclusions, but if you want to make such a change to any of the conditions in the contract, this request must be made prior to the auction, not after the bidding has finished. Remember, if the auctioneer knocks the property down to you, you've purchased it and will be legally obliged to settle. Many lending institutions will give you written loan approval prior to an auction, allowing you to bid to a certain price. Also, be sure to have a professional building and pest inspection done on the property before the auction. If you're serious about the home, this will be a small price to pay for peace of mind, even if you don't end up making the winning bid. Tip number 3, attend other auctions to see how they work. Just as it's important to know the property market you're buying into, it's also a good idea to research the agent who will be conducting the auction, or the auctioneer. All auctioneers have different techniques, but many have their own particular style or characteristics. Attend as many auctions as you can to get an idea of how auctions work. Observe how auctioneers, buyers and sellers behave on the day. Observe some of the tricks of the trade in practice. Then observe the auctioneer who will be selling the property you're interested in. You might get to know when the winning bid is made by the way the auctioneer talks or moves. Auctioneers generally have certain catchphrases or actions they'll use every time they get close to selling a property. Watch them carefully and you might just get the upper hand. Tip number 4, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you are not comfortable with the stress of bidding at auction, have a friend or a professional assist you. Most people know someone who has had some experience bidding at an auction. And tip number 5, and probably one of the most important, relax. Don't be intimidated by the auction process. If you are well prepared, it should be smooth sailing, and you might only be one bid away from owning your dream home. Good luck, and see you on my next tips video.